This 2,300-year-old way of thinking helped prisoners of war survive and helped people overcome depression when modern medicine couldn't. It might just change your life, too. Have you ever felt totally overwhelmed by life's problems? Like you're drowning in things you can't control? You're not alone. What I'm sharing today isn't just old ideas. It's a practical toolkit for turning your biggest struggles into your greatest strengths. Welcome to Stoicism, a mental framework that's becoming popular again today for one simple reason. It works. Modern science backs up what these ancient thinkers figured out just by watching human nature. In the next few minutes, you'll learn techniques so powerful they helped a prisoner of war survive 7 years of torture. These are techniques so effective that therapists now use them with patients. And they're techniques you can start using today to change how you handle any challenge life throws at you. Why Stoicism works, the science. Here's something that might surprise you. When scientists study the brains of people using Stoic ideas, they see something amazing. These ancient techniques actually rewire your brain, turning on your thinking centers while calming your emotional alarm system. The results speak for themselves. First, studies show Stoic training cuts worry by 18% and reduces unhelpful thought loops by 13%. Second, people in these studies become 12% more resilient. And third, they report being 15% more satisfied with their lives. But here's what's truly revolutionary. You already have everything you need to start this change. All it takes is your mind and regular practice. Did you know that modern cognitive behavioral therapy, the most proven psychological treatment we have, comes directly from Stoicism? The founder of CBT himself said, "The roots of cognitive therapy can be traced back to the Stoic philosophers." Stoicism was born during times of great chaos, much like our world today. When everything feels shaky, these principles give you solid ground to stand on. The 5 core principles that change everything. Now, let's dive into the 5 game-changing ideas that can transform your relationship with hardship. As I describe each one, think about how you might use it in your own life. Principle 1. Focus on what you can control. I want you to try something right now. Think about your biggest worry. Got it? Now, here's the question that changes everything. Which parts of this situation can you actually control, and which parts can't you? This first Stoic principle creates an immediate shift in how you see things. The Stoics discovered that we only truly control 3 things. First, our thoughts. Second, our choices. And third, our actions. We don't control outside events, other people's opinions, or final outcomes. Here's how Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius put it: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Michael, a company executive, was constantly stressed about market changes, competitor moves, and possible layoffs. His worry affected his sleep, health, and family. When he applied this principle, everything changed. He realized he couldn't control the economy, board decisions, or market shifts, but he could control his planning, how he talked with his team, and most importantly, his own mental response to uncertainty. "Once I stopped wasting mental energy on things I couldn't influence," Michael said, "I not only felt better, I actually became more effective with the things I could control." The mental clarity was incredible. This principle isn't about giving up. It's about smart focus, putting all your energy toward what you can influence and letting go of the rest. Could this simple shift help you with your current challenge? What parts are within your control and what aren't? This question alone can quickly reduce anxiety by moving your energy from useless worry to helpful action. Principle 2. Turning problems into opportunities. Now here's where it gets really interesting. What if your biggest problems aren't really problems at all, but chances to grow in disguise? "The thing blocking your path becomes your path," wrote Marcus Aurelius. This sounds nice in theory, but does it work in real life? Let me tell you about Admiral James Stockdale. Shot down over Vietnam, Stockdale spent 7 years as a prisoner of war. He was tortured over 20 times, kept alone in a cell, and starved. How did he survive when so many others broke down? Before his capture, Stockdale had studied Stoicism. In those brutal prison cells, he used this exact principle, seeing obstacles as opportunities. He couldn't control his imprisonment, but he could control his response. He created a tapping system to talk with other prisoners through walls. He found ways to resist his captors while keeping his dignity and helping others. "I never lost faith in the end of the story," Stockdale later said. "I never doubted I would get out, and that I would turn this experience into the defining event of my life." This isn't just ancient philosophy. It's backed by modern research on post-traumatic growth, which shows that 50–60% of trauma survivors report meaningful positive changes. Here are 5 ways people grow through challenges. First, greater personal strength. Second, deeper appreciation of life. Third, closer relationships. Fourth, new possibilities. And fifth, spiritual growth. This principle creates a sense of control in any tough situation. A job rejection becomes a chance to improve your approach. Relationship problems become invitations for deeper connection. Health challenges become wake-up calls to focus on what truly matters. Think about your current challenge again. What if it contains something valuable inside it? What growth, skill, or insight might be waiting for you on the other side of this difficulty? Principle 3. Preparing for challenges ahead. This next principle might sound backward at first. Would you believe that purposely imagining worst-case scenarios could actually make you happier and more resilient? The Stoics called this practice preparing for difficulties ahead. As Seneca advised, the person who thinks about possible troubles before they arrive will be ready for them when they come. Sarah, a public speaker, used to suffer from terrible anxiety before presentations. Before learning this technique, my mind would race with vague fears about everything going wrong, she told me. The anxiety was paralyzing. Then she learned this Stoic practice. Instead of trying to push away her fears, she deliberately imagined specific problems. Her slides failing, forgetting her points, facing tough questions, even completely freezing up. But, importantly, she also imagined exactly how she would handle each situation calmly. When I actually had technical problems during an important talk, it felt familiar, almost like I'd been there before. Instead of panicking, I handled it calmly, even with humor. The audience later said it was the most authentic moment of the presentation. This isn't about dwelling on negative thoughts. It's about mental practice that psychologists call emotional vaccination. By purposely imagining tough scenarios in a controlled way, you build tolerance for stress. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between vivid imagination and reality when creating neural pathways. When you mentally rehearse facing challenges, you're actually creating response patterns that your brain can use during real difficulties. What challenge are you facing that might benefit from this practice? How might you respond wisely if your fears actually came true? Principle 4. Embracing what happens. Here's the ultimate transformation of suffering, not just enduring hardship, but embracing it as an essential part of life. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything thrown into it, wrote Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics called this principle amor fati, the love of fate. It's not just accepting what happens, but actually welcoming it, seeing how it fits into your larger story. This doesn't mean passively allowing harm or unfairness. It means recognizing that challenges are inseparable from growth. Elena faced a devastating cancer diagnosis at 42. At first, I was consumed by the question, why me, she shared. I felt like a victim of fate. Through her journey, Elena discovered this Stoic principle. Instead of merely enduring her treatments, she began to see how her experience was changing her priorities, deepening her relationships, and revealing strength she never knew she had. I wouldn't wish cancer on anyone, she said. But I can honestly say I've come to appreciate how this experience has shaped me. It burned away what wasn't important and left what was essential. I don't just accept what happened. In a strange way, I'm grateful for how it transformed me. Think about the strongest, most compassionate, wisest people you know. I bet they've faced serious hardship. Their strength wasn't developed despite their struggles, but because of them. When facing uncertainty, whether personal challenges or bigger concerns, this principle offers a powerful reframing. Rather than being overwhelmed by circumstances beyond our control, this perspective allows us to view difficulties as important parts of our unique journey. Is there a challenge you're currently fighting against that you might begin to embrace as part of your growth? Principle 5. The bigger picture view. Our 5th principle offers perhaps the most profound perspective shift. Imagine if you could step outside your life for a moment and view your concerns from a cosmic perspective. The Stoics regularly practiced this mental exercise, what they called the view from above. Imagine floating above your current location, rising higher until you can see your neighborhood, then your city, your country, the entire Earth, our solar system, and beyond. From this vantage point, how big are your current worries? David, an environmental scientist, described becoming overwhelmed by the size of global challenges until discovering this practice. I was crushed by the weight of problems that seemed beyond solving, he said. Every day brought new discouraging data. I felt both responsible for fixing everything and completely unable to make a difference. Through regularly practicing this meditation, David gained a crucial perspective. Now, I can hold two truths at once. These challenges matter deeply, and my individual worries about them can be out of proportion. This bigger picture helps me contribute meaningfully without being consumed by anxiety. I focus on taking significant action without tying my entire self-worth to outcomes I can't control. By expanding your viewpoint beyond immediate troubles to see the vastness of existence, personal suffering diminishes and becomes manageable. Your problems don't disappear, but they're put in proper context. Putting Stoicism into practice. 5. Daily techniques. Now let's get practical. Here are 5 powerful techniques you can start using today to build Stoic resilience. I promise that using even one of these practices regularly will begin shifting how you respond to difficulties. Practice 1. Daily journaling. This practice has an impressive history. Marcus Aurelius wrote his famous Meditations as a personal journal, never intending anyone else to read it. Modern research shows that structured journaling reduces emotional reactivity by creating space between trigger and response. Here's how to do it in 4 simple steps. First, spend 5 to 10 minutes each morning setting intentions and thinking about possible challenges. Second, ask yourself, what difficulties might I face today and how will I use Stoic principles to handle them? Third, in the evening, review your day without judgment. And fourth, note where you applied Stoic principles and where you could improve. There are many ways to approach journaling. You can use apps with guided prompts. You can use regular notebooks. Or you can record voice notes if you prefer speaking to writing. Robert used this practice to transform his relationship with workplace stress. At first, I was skeptical that just writing could make a difference, he shared. But after 3 weeks, I noticed something remarkable. Situations that would have triggered immediate stress began to feel more like interesting puzzles to solve. The space between trigger and response had widened dramatically. Research shows consistency matters more than method, with regular practitioners reporting a 15% increase in life satisfaction regardless of how they journal. Practice 2. The control exercise. When facing stress or uncertainty, this exercise immediately reduces anxiety and focuses your energy productively. Here's how to do it in 4 steps. First, take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle, creating 2 columns. Second, label one I can control and the other I cannot control. Third, for your current situation, list every aspect that concerns you in the appropriate column. And fourth, make a conscious decision to focus entirely on the I can control column. For example, when preparing for a job interview, here's what you might include in your I can control column: your preparation, your knowledge of the company, your attitude, the questions you ask, how you present your experience, and your rest the night before. And here's what would go in your I cannot control column: who else is being interviewed, the interviewer's mood, whether they've already chosen someone internally, and economic factors affecting hiring. This simple practice reduces rumination on uncontrollables by 18% according to recent studies. By repeatedly directing your attention to what you can influence, you build a habit of focused action rather than scattered worry. Practice 3. Mental rehearsal for challenges. To practice negative visualization, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Take several deep breaths to center yourself. Then follow these 5 steps. First, select something important in your life, like a relationship, job, or your health. Second, imagine temporarily losing this valued element. Third, notice the feelings that arise, acknowledging them without judgment. Fourth, imagine how you would respond with strength and wisdom. And fifth, return to the present moment with fresh appreciation. Start with brief 3 to 5 minute sessions, gradually extending to 10 minutes. Practice 2 to 3 times weekly, especially before stressful events. Maria, a business owner, described how this practice transformed her company's response to a major setback. When we lost our biggest client unexpectedly, I didn't panic. I'd mentally rehearsed similar situations and already had backup plans. My team was amazed at my calmness, helped them stay focused rather than panicking too. We ended up diversifying our client base, making the business much more resilient in the long run. This practice develops emotional resilience by gradually getting you used to fears while strengthening your confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes. Practice 4. Building strength through small discomforts. To build your discomfort tolerance, deliberately introduce small challenges into your routine. Here are 5 simple ways to start. First, try cold showers. Start with just 10 seconds at the end of your shower, gradually extending the time. Second, experiment with delayed eating. Begin by simply pushing breakfast back by 2 hours. Third, take breaks from technology. No screens for set periods. Fourth, embrace physical challenges, like walking instead of driving or taking stairs instead of elevators. And fifth, practice delayed gratification, waiting before buying non-essentials. The Stoics recognized that regularly practicing minor voluntary discomforts builds the mental muscles needed to handle involuntary hardships with grace. James, a software developer, incorporated this practice after noticing his decreasing tolerance for minor inconveniences. I realized I'd become irritable when websites took more than seconds to load or when my coffee wasn't exactly right, he admitted. Through practicing voluntary discomfort, particularly 24-hour digital detoxes, I've developed a much higher tolerance for life's inevitable frictions. The constant background anxiety I used to feel has decreased dramatically. Start small with this practice. Gradually increase the challenge as your resilience grows. Practice 5. The perspective meditation. This powerful meditation brings the cosmic perspective into your daily life. It's particularly helpful when you feel overwhelmed by immediate concerns. Let me guide you through this practice in 10 simple steps. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Second, close your eyes and take several deep breaths to center yourself. Third, begin by imagining yourself rising above your current location. Fourth, visualize seeing your home from above, then your neighborhood. Fifth, continue rising, seeing your city, then your region, your country. Sixth, see the entire Earth as a small blue marble in space. Seventh, expand further to see our solar system, galaxy, and beyond. Eighth, as your perspective expands, notice how your current problems appear in this broader context. Ninth, without dismissing your challenges, feel how they fit into the larger scale of existence. And 10th, when ready, gradually return your awareness to your body and surroundings. Alexandra, a healthcare worker who faced burnout during the pandemic, found this practice transformative. When you're in the trenches day after day, everything can feel overwhelming and never-ending, she explained. This meditation helped me maintain perspective. I could see my important but ultimately small place in the vast human story. Somehow this cosmic view didn't diminish my work, but gave it proper context, helping me continue without being consumed. This practice can be enhanced with astronomy apps or videos that show the scale of the universe. Regular practice puts personal problems into perspective while cultivating a sense of connection to something larger than yourself. Your 5-step emergency response to any challenge. Now, here's a practical framework you can apply to any challenge you're facing. Think of it as your emergency response system for life's difficulties. Step 1. Stop and assess. When trouble strikes, most people react automatically, but you're going to do something different. First, stop and take 3 deep breaths. This activates your rest and digest nervous system, counteracting the fight-or-flight response. Second, ask yourself, what is actually happening right now? Focus on facts, not interpretations. My proposal wasn't accepted is a fact. Let's see, this means I'm a failure is an interpretation. Third, identify your emotional reactions without judgment, remembering that reactions are interpretations, not facts. Step 2, identify what you control. This is your moment to gain immediate clarity. First, list what aspects of the situation are within your control versus outside it. Second, accept that you can only influence what's in your control and let go of the need to control the rest. Third, for career uncertainty, this might mean I control my skill development and networking. I don't control hiring decisions or economic conditions. This clarity immediately reduces anxiety by focusing your energy where it can actually make a difference. Step 3. Choose your best response. Now you're ready to choose a response aligned with your highest values. Ask, what would the best version of me do in this situation? Consider the 4 cardinal virtues. First, wisdom. What is the most sensible response? Second, courage. What brave action is needed? Third, fairness. What is fair to all involved? And fourth, self-control. What balanced approach is best? This step ensures your actions reflect your highest values rather than momentary emotions. Step 4. Take meaningful action. With clarity about what you control and a virtuous response chosen, now you take action. First, act with full attention. Second, focus on the process rather than outcomes. Third, accept that results aren't fully in your control. And fourth, Maintain emotional balance regardless of circumstances. As the Stoics recognized, virtuous action itself is the true reward, independent of external results. Step 5. Learn and grow. After the situation passes, make it count by extracting its lessons. First, review what happened. Second, evaluate how well your response aligned with Stoic principles. Third, identify lessons for similar future situations. And fourth, write about your experience and insights. This reflection completes the learning cycle and builds wisdom for future challenges. Whether you're dealing with workplace stress, relationship challenges, health concerns, or career uncertainty, this framework provides immediate structure while building long-term resilience. Transforming your life with Stoic wisdom. You've now discovered a powerful framework for transforming life's inevitable struggles into sources of strength. Throughout history, these Stoic principles have guided individuals through imprisonment, illness, loss, and uncertainty. Imagine waking up tomorrow and facing your challenges with clear thinking instead of anxiety. Imagine handling difficult emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Imagine building resilience that serves you not just today, but throughout your entire life. What would change if you viewed obstacles not as things happening to you, but things happening for you? How would your experience transform if you focused exclusively on what you can control? As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The obstacles you face today may be the very things that develop the strength, wisdom, and resilience you'll need tomorrow. The Stoics remind us that our greatest strength often emerges from our deepest struggles, not because suffering itself is good, but because our response to it shapes who we become. Your challenge: start today. If you found value in these insights, subscribe now for more practical wisdom that can transform your life. And here's my challenge to you. Try just one Stoic practice this week. Just one. Start with the 5-minute control exercise tomorrow morning. Here's how. Draw a line down the center of a paper. List what you can control about your biggest concern on one side. List what you cannot control on the other side. And focus solely on the can control column for the day. Imagine how different your life could be just 1 month from now if you started practicing these techniques today. Join thousands of others who are changing their relationship with hardship. Remember, the obstacle is the way. Your challenges aren't separate from your path. They are the path itself.